What aspect of daily life disappeared from routine, and it slipped by unnoticed by most? Somewhere along the line 8-5 replaced 9-5, having some television show that you had to schedule your time around watching. Reading the newspaper, especially on a Sunday morning, when my entire family would dismember it and hand around sections like a pack of lions around a kill. It kept us at the breakfast table an hour longer. Laptops with drives. Cereal boxes including toys. These days I seldom ever see monarch butterfly swarms. Always putting back the Blockbuster rentals and giving them to my mother so she could return them when she left for work. Then on the weekend she'd take us to go pick out new stuff to rent, and the cycle continued until Blockbuster went the way of the dodo. I'm not sure if it's still this way everywhere, but I rarely see kids out riding bikes, playing baseball or kickball in the street, or doing things like jump rope. When I was a kid, especially in the summer, kids were all over outside. Older people who didn't work during the day would sit on their porch and keep an eye on things, having breakfast together before heading out to work school. Which conspiracy theory do you secretly believe? Reddit deliberately makes the mobile website bad to try and force people onto their app. Ireland began deliberately entering bad songs into the Eurovision Song Contest in the March 7, 2024. After winning it consecutively for a few years, it began getting too expensive to host, so they sabotaged their chances of winning it. When celebs tell the media or the world the name of their kids, it's a made-up name and not actually their real name. Kind of explains why some of these kids' names seem absurd. This sub is ran by BuzzFeed. Most computer viruses in the March 7, 2024 were created by software companies selling antivirus programs. Pinterest was entirely bought and funded by Big Mason Jar. I wish there was a good someone killed President Harding conspiracy theory, and there just isn't. Like all of the pieces are their sudden natural death while on a trip, political and personal scandals. But there's no the Sia killed Kennedy for Harding. God. Those dog breed tests. They are gathering dog to eventually create a super dog. They will call it the Everything Beagle. Beagle. How do men feel about saggy breasts? Boobs are boobs. Even small boobs have their perks. I love everything that you hate about your breast. What you described is what I consider perfect. By the point at which I have been invited to see or interact with a pair of breasts, I haven't the slightest concern about their size or shape. I've more important things on my mind, like seriously. I get to touch boobs. Oh yeah. We're just happy to be there. Men aren't a monolith. The right guy will like what they see. Besides, it's not most men, it's the right man, and the right man will like how you look. Some guys will like them and some won't. That's really it. I know what I like and that's me, but the next guy will like something different. You're not going to be every guy's type. Real boobs are awesome, and most real boobs sag. Your worrying over big areolas are even more awesome. Saggy are fine. Fake for me are not. Rip your inbox. And to answer your question, I'm sure your breasts are fine, and the majority of the problem is in your head. Anyone who thinks this is a deal breaker is not a man but a boy. There is a Reddit for saggy breasts. Take a look. You will find you are among many, and that many men are drooling over them. Bernie Sanders' report reveals over half of older adults survive on under $30,000 a year. Americans deserve to retire with dignity, but the current system. Try living on Social Security only, not to mention Medicare, which you have to pay for. That's not a great life. He's right. My aunt recently passed away, 80 years old, and still working because she couldn't afford to retire. I am a huge advocate of social support systems. For the elderly, for the poor, for the uninsured. Every person should have their basic needs met and a minimum standard of living guaranteed. How many of them didn't have retirement accounts? My mother and stepfather chose not to fund a retirement account for the entire time that they worked, and now I have to pay for problem is too many people think Social Security will be enough to take care of them, and it's not. Old, retire, dignity, these are not words I am to be accustomed with. 76-year-old a month, can't get apartment. Yeah, 'cause it can chicken and everything in cans. We'd better get used to it, I suppose. We need to do much more for our elderly. Also need to provide euthanasia solutions for those with terminal diseases. Hospice and nursing home care is way too expensive. What are some products where the name brand is actually worth buying over the generic? Lego. Toilet paper, I learned a lot during COVID. Dawn dishwashing detergent. Crayons. Never again Rose Art. I own a remodeling company, and spending the extra money for premium paint is so worth it. The extra initial expense laid out saves my labor and material costs considerably. I will never buy mid-level paint anymore. Tempur-Pedic pillows. If you intend to suffocate somebody in their sleep, nothing but a Tempur-Pedic pillow gets the job done first time every time. Cheerios. I've never encountered a generic that tasted the same as the original. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and M&Ms. Off-brands are just not it. Looking at you, Palmer's. Bounty paper towels. All generic brands are horrible. Tampons, Emo. Shoes. You get what you pay for. If you buy at one of those cheapest locations in the mall, you get cheapest shoes. Good shoes cost money. Car generic are cheap for a reason. They meet the bare minimum requirements and will not last nor perform. Brands actually perform, have R&D behind them, and will be more likely to save your ass in a sticky situation. Snow winter tires are the big one for this in particular. What chain restaurant hasn't gone down in quality? Waffle House. Popeyes still gives you the same great food with their signature shitty service, and they'll still definitely be out of something that you want. Costco. Domino's rebrand was successful in my eye. They were garbage, and now, well, they are one of the places I'll order. Local kinda to just the Seattle area, but Dick's Burgers are still dirt cheap and hella good. A W is pretty legit in Canada. It's long been the expensive fast food option, but I'd rate it higher than most of the local burger places that get rave reviews. Definitely a W in Canada. The most expensive but always delicious. Damn, I want a burger now. Culver's. I know it's a southern thing, but definitely Bojangles. Up here, strangely Burger King. McDonald's is awful now, overpriced, soggy fries, even their nuggets suck. Burger King though. Fries are consistently good, burgers are filling, and their nuggets sweet chili dip only two that haven't lost their quality. Arb and Domino's. Everywhere else has been a mixed bag of mid to bad. Freddy's. Only chain place that makes a pétillement with the correct bread rye. Prices have soared, but it's still a constantly fresh and tasty burger. Who is the most skilled person ever by far? The GOAT could be in any field, entertainment, sports, academics, etc. Leonhard Euler. He was a genius. No matter which field of mathematics you study, there will always be something remarkable by him. He revolutionized mathematics and alone accomplished more than hundreds of other mathematicians ever could. Without him we would be 100 years back in time. John von Neumann. Geniuses said he was alien-like. John von Neumann. If the word genius should be applied to anyone, it's him. I guess you could call him a mathematician at heart, but he did so much stuff. Apparently he loved dirty jokes. So that's another thing I have in common with the world's smartest man. Wayne Gretzky. If he never scored a goal in his career, he would still be the all-time points leader with assists alone. Apparently, supposedly, Sir Isaac Newton discovered calculus at the same rate it's taught. Or idea being he was very, very quick. Definitely Leonardo da Vinci. even just in terms of the number of skills he mastered, besides the fact that he truly mastered most, if not all of these considering his time. He was a masterful painter, sculptor, anatomist, mathematician, engineer, musician, inventor, among many other fields. If you had the power of God for 3 seconds, what would you undo? The timer until I come up with something relevant. I would spend the entire 3 seconds thinking about what to change and do nothing. I would undo everyone's shoelaces. Remove the 3 second rule. I would strip myself from these powers because I can fuck everything up in 3 seconds, no doubt. I'm talented like that. I'd undo my hearing loss. I won't go back in time and mess with stuff, but just the chance to hear properly again. I'd be so happy. I would undo the extinction of the dinosaurs to see where it would eventually lead us. Just start me back in middle school with all the knowledge I have now. Pretty sure I could get it right the second time. Why 3 seconds, though? As a god you could stop time and have however much you need to not decide in a rush. Bring my wife back to life exactly as she was before the attack that led to her passing, except without asthma. A mate's daughter's cancer diagnosis. Great kid from a great family, otherwise perfectly healthy, extremely talented, probably won't see the weekend, and she should be playing in cricket grand final in her town's first cancer. Cancer. Fuck cancer. My best friend's just wasn't fair. I would probably undo the continental back pangy. The cost of a college degree keeps going up. I see distorted understanding of biological science all the time in Reddit and Earl. So the fact that the information is available for free doesn't mean you'll understand it and apply it correctly. And as the internet becomes more unreliable, we will have to have institutions that are the arbiters of truth and a place where you have access to the best information. It's basically a problem that solves itself. Yeah, but you still gotta pay for that piece of paper with the fancy school name on it. I'm increasingly convinced that universities are a scam and unnecessary for most. I say this as one, but the best academic investment I made was check for my JIS training and certificate. Being able to identify and learn from free classes is ironically a skill most people learn in college. Think at this point in many cases you just do it to write studied at X in your resume. They give out internships online. How else do you expect to form professional connections that can help you find work in your chosen? Also show a level of commitment and ability to work independently. Many countries with free university degrees still exist, although their future might be at risk. In my country education is free all the way through. How much do women like muscles from your experience? Based on my observation, women like definition than they do size. You can be slightly muscular but lean as fuck with six-pack showing. You'll look better than your typical perma-bulk guy. Well, I went from being fat to dropping bulbs, gaining muscle. And while there was some female attention, most of the attention I received was from other dudes at the gym. From my experience, they've always verbally denied that they liked muscle, but their eyes and actions said otherwise. I don't see too many women lining up to get fucked by Bruce Violence, while I hear a lot of women like that Jason Momoa guy and Thor dude. My first full-time job was working at a lumber yard. I gained bulbs in 3 months, and suddenly a lot more women were paying attention to me. They seemed to be enamored with me being lean and having defined shoulders. Anything that accentuates the classical male V shape is going to work in your favor. But never skip leg day. Just based purely on my girlfriends talking about guys, nice to look at but not necessary in terms of a prospective date. Sort of a selection bias, since the women who aren't into muscles wouldn't interact with you as often. Everyone in the world knows a fact no one else knows. Can you provide an example, please? Yeah, and most of them are inconsequential, or they would have been told to someone else. like the fact that I have exactly 503 distinct freckles on my left arm. Even now that I've told people only a small fraction that read this would be able to remember in an hour. And I imagine by the time a month goes by I will be the only one who knows again. A lot of these are likely my PIN numbers or my social security numbers, then the rest get filled out by weird little events or personal stuff. More knows something that I don't want to know. Yeah, like the fact that my FBI agent thinks I don't know he's watching your day, John. Did you know you have 3-4 inches of dick that's inside of you? Not babies. They don't know shit. I know I'm good looking. And everyone you meet knows a good deal more about something that you don't, no matter how bright and curious you've spent your life. When you get killed by army ants, it's not bites that kill you. It's invasion of the lungs. Birds always have diarrhea. A useless or irrelevant fact, perhaps. What's a small change you've made in your daily routine that has significantly improved your life or well-being? This is very small, so don't laugh at me. But making my bed every morning, it's helping me to establish a routine and is sort of helping with depression. I personally started practicing daily gratitude. Small act, big impact. It's like a daily reset button for the soul, adding positivity to even the simplest moments. I go for a normal walk in the morning. It's so nice. The morning air feels so good. I tuck my partner into bed every morning and kiss his forehead as I wake up and leave for work before, like it forces me to slow down and focus on my beautiful home life before going into my stressful corporate job. Makes me feel like I'm wearing armor against the 9 to 5 grind, knowing he's cozier and warmer before his workday starts. I get up at 5 a.m. and watch the sunrise from the balcony, with the mountains in the background and everything completely silent. Then I prepare breakfast for everyone. Writing a journal, it sounds dumb, but honestly, it helps a lot with mental health. I would get stressed or angry very easily and wouldn't know why, but I was able to pinpoint things by taking time to look back at my day. 10-10 would recommend